Hi everyone, welcome to the Iron Circus Geek Show. Spike is out today, so I'm hosting on my own. I'm Kel McDonald, the managing editor at Iron Circus Comics, and we have a guest this week.
That's me, Casey. Hi, I'm Casey Green. I'm a cartoonist of some renown.
Casey, did you know that one of your creations makes a cameo in Baldur's Gate's announcement animation about their newest update?
I can only guess, but go ahead and tell me.
It is Dick Butt. Is
Really?
it is because the newest update is about how there's now mods like support from the official developers. So it's the cartoon they made is the characters wake up and react to people who have modded the game. And one thing is all the flags have been replaced with dick butt. So
Huh.
there's also giant rabbits and other various goofy things.
So this was Baldur Gates 3?
Yep,
Baldur Gates.
yep,
It's Baldur and his gates.
yeah. Balls
Um,
Gate 3. Yeah, Miss Ellesmere is
well,
like, I giggled when I saw the dick butt flag.
I got the chat open so I can see what people are saying.
Good.
But interesting. Huh. Never thought I'd see that guy again.
Yeah.
Kind of weird when I did. I really don't. I really let that one go because I can't be bothered. I can barely be bothered with the dog, let alone
And the dog actually says
little thing.
something.
Yeah, he's got some words he says.
The dog's part of a wider context.
Not anymore.
Not anymore.
I'll rip that context up.
There's I always think it's fascinating what gets memed from different shows. So before we went live, we were talking about Mad Men. Because Casey is going to rewatch it soon,
Yep.
and just finished rewatching The Sopranos.
Watching for the first time Sopranos actually.
Oh, just watching Sopranos for the first time.
Yeah,
But
I watched the finale only because everyone was talking about it in 2007, so it was just pure curiosity. But I had never watched the show until like 3 or 4 years ago when I started, and then kind of dropped off, and then we just got back into it like one a night.
one of Mad Men's most famous memes, the "I don't think about you at all" meme.
Hmm.
I always think about how, in the context of the episode, that is the exact opposite of the message people used the meme as.
Yeah, that I've never seen that episode. It is a pretty like rough thing to just drop on someone, but
Yeah.
I've heard you mention that before. That the context is way different.
Yeah. Don is saying that to be look cool and detached, the way people using the meme use it to look cool and detached.
Yeah,
The point of the episode is that he super cares, and he is constantly afraid that young talented artist is going to replace him, because he's old.
yeah. There's a couple moments when I watched Mad Men that I had to like stop and rewatch certain episodes or certain parts of it because it's like it felt like it lingered on like a really crucial moment that I just didn't get with even without context. And like I was telling you, I only watched it kind of half listening to it because I was drawing or something most of the time, so I wasn't catching the full context of every little moment.
It's
It
both.
was something to do with Sally when she was younger,
Yeah.
and he was shaving, and she said something about it, and he just had to like have a moment to himself of like, oh my god, what am I doing, or whatever.
Yeah. There's a lot of moments in Mad Men and in Sopranos where it's like, I think the symbolism that is used is not subtle, but people just aren't used to there being symbolism in their TV. So that's
Oh
why
yeah,
people miss it.
yeah. I love the way they would really play with that in Sopranos from time to time.
Mm-hmm.
Like even for something as kind of big and weird as and it's going to be spoilers for anyone who's watching, listening, or whatever. So apologies. Um, like when Syl had that quick dream
Mm-hmm.
about that ended with seeing Big Pussy in the mousetrap, but it was like a quick like cut
Mm-hmm.
immediately to like him waking up and going like fuck that was weird, or the fucking Virgin Mary
Yeah.
coming to Polly.
Yeah.
That was a very scary moment for me. That was like holy shit.
Yeah.
Um, I like that they will shake that. They will shake that shit, and that is very interesting. And I don't really watch a lot of like recent stuff. I'm beyond like I don't know whatever new anime is cooling out right
Well, it's
now.
like
So I don't know if they still do that shit.
even recent stuff, like it's rarer that stuff will do that.
What's a recent drama that could be comparable to Mad Men or Sopranos that may or may not do that? Game of Thrones.
So Game of Thrones is using all the symbolism that's in the books. So at the beginning, there's symbolism like that.
Yeah.
And then, as what is famously quoted from the showrunners, themes are for eighth grade book reports. So they don't care. And
Well, that's great. I'm glad that's what we're turning into as a society.
well,
Dagger speaking with the quiet.
that
I'll take
well,
my voice to screen time.
well, the end of Game of Thrones was so bad that they
That's
lost.
the only thing I know about Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Well, so the thing
Is that they fucking
is
flubbed it.
they say that um they said that toward the beginning of the show.
Yeah.
And then we're going to coast and get that they wanted to wrap the show up quicker than George R. R. Martin and HBO wanted. Because they wanted to go direct Star Wars. And then the end of Game of Thrones was so bad that they lost the Star Wars job they were offered. So, like, they were immediately fired from it.
Those fucking goofballs. Those fucking losers. I
Yeah.
can't believe they flubbed such a whatever. Star Wars is not better off nor worse off because of it.
Um,
Honestly.
then, yeah, so it's, the new Game of Thrones show, I think is very interested in being good in moment to moment, and they're not quite connecting the tissue as much. So while there is some symbolism in it, it's not quite working.
And that's got to be different because of it's all got to be harder also because of the nature of the show, which is high fantasy,
Yeah.
dark fantasy.
Well, I actually think that makes the symbolism easier because since everyone's got an animal on their banner, just have an animal that's symbolic to who they are.
Hmm.
Like the Baratheon symbol is a stag, and they're a bunch of brothers that keep fighting each other and butting heads with one another. So,
There you go.
yeah. Bam, symbolism.
I mean, that helps characterize those brothers and stuff, but within the story beats, and the new Game of Thrones is outside of book canon. Is that right?
Okay, so the new Game of Thrones is called House of the Dragon, and it's based
Yeah.
off of an in-world history book. So it's kind of like the people adapting it have to fill in a lot of the connective tissue. But also, the in-world history book is intentionally written so that it's an unreliable narrator trying to figure out what three other unreliable narrators said. So there's what's in the text, and then you have to like read between the lines to figure out what's actually going on. So that makes the book fun to read because the guy who's writing it clearly likes the Green Queen, and doesn't like the queen that's in charge of the blacks, because that's the color of their banners and the dragons that they have. And the way you can tell from the get-go that he's biased against Team Black is he's like, well, Princess Rhaena, however the fuck you say her stupid Targaryen name,
Sure.
she, the Greens kept like pointing out to everyone that she was just sleeping around and that she was real easy and like wasn't a virgin. But this is a few pages after he tells you that Princess Rhaena is 9 and her stepmom is an 18-year-old, and this is a thing that's happening a few years later. So this is a 22-year-old telling all of the nobles in court that this 12-year-old's a slut.
Cool.
So
yeah, you got all that to deal with.
Yeah.
Too, which is
but the show wanted to make it more even and try to have both queens be likable, kinda. So they're the same age, and there's a little bit less of that, but its individual scenes are good, but the connective tissue isn't always there.
okay. I was just looking through AMC just to be like, what else is like recent and new in like the world of that kind of drama, and I forget how much they fucking just made a meal out of everything Walking Dead related.
Yeah.
Goodness gracious, there's a lot of Walking Dead stuff.
So that's
I guess Interview with the Vampire.
Interview with the Vampire is really good. There hasn't been a whole lot of hardcore symbolism in that. More just homoerotic violence.
That's fine too. If that's what you want,
Yeah.
give it to us. That's fine. I guess I did forget about Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul. There's not really symbolism, but those are great.
Yeah.
In their own way.
Yeah, so it's like it's not necessarily that it's bad that shows aren't using symbolism. It's more just we're not used to it as TV audiences. So we don't look for it.
And I'm just curious as to what is the next. Mad Men and The Sopranos were of a time when everyone was watching
Succession.
Oh, Succession, absolutely. Everyone was talking about Succession.
And that has some symbolism because there's like every time they try to do something, nature is against them. And it's like nature is representative of the fact that for all their wealth and power, they can't buy their way out of their dad dying.
Yeah, the world at large against them.
It's more nature, because it's every time they have a human problem, they throw money at it, and they have all the money, so they win. But it's stuff like an animal died in their vacation house, and now their vacation house reeks. And they can't undo that. Like, there's no quick, easy solution other than air the place out.
Well, you can pay someone to move the carcass around, I suppose.
Yeah.
Move it to a different room so we don't have to smell it, please.
Yeah.
I've only seen one episode of that.
And
Uh,
I like I like shows about terrible people, so I've seen all these. And
yeah, I'm starting to get it.
yeah. Um, I also before we went live, I was telling Casey about Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. Um, and the thing about shows about terrible people is they're very rarely about women.
Mm.
So part of why I also liked Crazy Ex-Girlfriend is because she's an awful person, but is a woman. So support. I support women's rights. I also support women's wrongs.
Yes, you're supposed to believe women, especially when they're bad.
Yeah. Kristen Cheney saying sure explains a lot about Game of Thrones. Yeah, that themes are for eighth grade book reports quote like lives rent free in my brain. That's like why were these men put in charge of a show?
There's always some kind of turning wheel of like people see too much of it and this and that, and they're like, no, fuck that. You know,
Well,
I'm tired.
also that
I've seen what's that Garth Marenghi quote where he's like, I've seen writers who use subtext and they're all cowards.
yeah. Um,
A fake author, by the way.
yeah. And you know what? It doesn't need to be subtext. It can be text in the symbolism.
Yeah, look at the Hideo Kojima.
Kristen Cheney, it is nepotism. That is how they got the job.
The Game of Thrones people.
Yes, that is how they got the job.
Uh-huh.
They had written like 2 episodes before that of TV before that, and they also tricked George R. R. Martin because one of the tests to make sure that you would do right by his show is he apparently asked them who Jon Snow's parents are, and they just looked at Reddit and read some Reddit threads about it, and then are like, well, clearly it's this, and so they repeated a thing that Redditors had speculated for over 10 years. So they were, and they happened to pick the correct Redditors, so they also cheated.
These guys sound fun.
Yep. And then when they lost their Star Wars job, they wanted to make a show about what if the South won the Civil War, because I'm sure that they would have handled that great.
Didn't they get to make that stupid show?
They did
Isn't
not
that
get to
real?
make it.
Isn't there some stupid show that's like that?
I believe there is a stupid show like that, but it's probably better than whatever they were gonna do.
Mhm.
Like, still bad. Could have been worse. Then, so in Sopranos, who was your favorite character?
Oh, The Sopranos is my favorite character. Well, The Sopranos themselves are pretty good. Tony, all around king idiot. You know, realizing, oops, I'm. It's bad to be king of the idiots. um, uh, I really need to sit and muster with that one for a bit. But there's so many like everyone's got something really funny, that they're a part of and that they do. Like even Chrissy at his worst moments in the show had times where he was just like such a affable dummy. Even when he's like always going to his writer friend's apartment to beat him up until he just fucking kills him. um, who would it be?
What'd you think of Tony's mom?
Uh, just, she's so out of the show for like longer than she's been in it that I kind of forget how much of just like a weirdo monster she is. Like I'm more into his relationship with Junior, especially after what happened with him and Junior at the
Yeah.
beginning of season 6. Um, and to think that he actually finally went to go see him in the final episode just to be like, you don't remember me at all, do you? It just walks away.
Yeah.
Um, Livia seems like a real piece of work. Um, his mom, I should
Yeah.
say. I don't know. It was interesting times when they wrote her character off because I believe that actress died.
Yeah, the
Correct?
actress died.
Yeah.
They're probably gonna
I,
do
I,
more with her.
well, I'm a little interested to see the movie that they made with Gandolfini's son
Yeah,
playing him, but I've also heard from people that it's not
very
good.
good. Or
You've heard it's very good.
I've heard it's not very good.
But that's a maybe. I'm more interested in like there's like a documentary about David Chase and the reason he, got into doing The Sopranos on there, uh, and his own like dealings with his mother, who I guess was kind of a what do you call it? Olivia was a stand-in for his
Huh.
mother, so that'd be interesting to check out more. I didn't have that bastardly of a mother, so I don't know. Like that stinks.
Yeah.
She stinks as a character. What can I say? All she does is all she did was sit there and complain. Um, I'm gonna have to be the middleman, the guy who always picks Mario, and say I got to give it up to Tony. He's like Gandolfini. What a guy!
Yeah.
The way he plays that,
Does a good job.
the way he played that.
Yeah. Hot take.
But everyone,
Sopranos, good show.
I know I'm late to the game, but I don't care. I still play it.
um, my favorite terrible person show's still BoJack. Because it also has stupid puns in the background.
Yeah, there's always something fun to look at in that
Yeah.
show.
My favorite running gag in BoJack is the sign manufacturer.
Always getting it wrong.
Yeah.
And just getting it increasingly wronger.
Yeah, well, they were putting the instructions in, so it's funny because it's like clearly always wrong in the same way.
Yeah.
Because it's congratulations, Diana, Mr. Peanut Butter, one word, and then the next sign is congratulations, Diana, Mr. Peanut Butter, one word, don't write one word. Like, it's just getting longer and longer. Like, there's a saga going on.
Interesting. I don't think I ever finished that one either. But Jack.
Back in the 90s, I was in a very famous TV show. What animes you been watching?
Dan to Dan.
Dan to Dan's good shit.
Dan to Dan. I caught up with them, or not. I didn't catch up with the manga, but I read a lot of it and was very excited that the anime was coming out. The manga is very fun.
Yeah.
I love the way the artist plays with character interaction and acting with character acting.
Yeah.
With like the quietness of the faces and stuff. And so I was excited to see that still be maintained in episode 1, which it's only the first episode, but that whole thing just goes off the rails pretty quickly with the she's about to get fucking probed by those weirdos and he gets immediately cursed.
Yeah,
by the
and
ghost.
she steals his dick.
Yeah, that's where it kind of ends. Is like, well, gotta go get my dick back.
Yep.
I'm excited for it. I really wanted to see the. I guess like in the movie theaters, they just put out like the first 3 episodes as one long movie, but I missed my chance to go see that.
Oh,
So
that's a bummer.
I guess I gotta wait week by week like a schmuck. But I did that with fucking Delicious and Dungeon, and look where we are now.
Yeah,
The anime rules.
yeah. It's good
Anime
shit.
rules.
Yeah.
Manga rules. Do you read the ending?
Yep. I do know how it ends. I have seen um Laios be a monster. Spoiler, everyone. Sorry.
Yeah. Let's not go into that one. That one's too fresh.
Yeah.
That's I do love the way she landed that plane though.
Yeah. There was an interview with her that I was like, man, this interviewer really beefed it.
Yeah.
Because the interviewer assumed that Delicious in Dungeon was inspired by like D&D. So they were like, "Oh, what's your favorite tabletop roleplay game?" And she's
Oh,
like,
boring. Yeah, wrong.
I don't play those." Whereas
Yeah.
if he had, like, this is the thing, is like, I know from the tiny bits of extras that she's done that have been translated by the internet, that it's not based off D&D, it's based off video games. So what he should have asked is, who are your favorite video game elves? And how much did you kiss them? And he would have gotten a much better, excited answer from her.
Yeah, I could see that. I definitely see that in the manga Die Dark, like Q Hayashida. Do you read that?
I've not read that one.
Right. It's the Dora Hidoro lady. It's her new one after Doro. That one is essentially just the bad guys hanging around and like making dumb jokes at each other and like being nigh indestructible and dealing with weirdos who and trying to get bones to upgrade their cool shit. Like like they're always trying to get more bones to get cooler shit,
Mm-hmm.
and then like some light head order always tries to stop them. They're like, "Huh? This is weird." And they even do like little cooking segments, but half the time they say, "Then we use," but it's like it's all weird dark sci-fi
Mm-hmm.
type stuff that is completely un untranslatable to actual cooking the way Ryoko Q in Delicious in Dungeon would try to be like, yeah, it mimics like a crab, so you prepare crab this way. In this one, they're like, well, we have this weird instant hot pot thing from some friggin' planet. They always say some friggin' planet because it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Because all he's making is a meatball sandwich
Good.
that like gets instantly made in a pot, and he loves it.
That's-
But it's just so chummy. Like the camaraderie
Yeah.
between like the main characters is so fun, and then half the time they're also just like, oh yeah, everyone's trying to kill him because they say his bone grants a wish. So they all want to kill him. They all want to kill Saha Zenko.
Poor guy.
Yeah, he's fine. He can kill them pretty. He can kill them back pretty quickly, more quickly, I should say. It's a good time though. Die Dark is great.
I'll have to check it out. I've been buried in not very good mangas that I edit for Seven Seas.
Uh,
But it's also, I don't know if it's that the manga is bad. It might just be that the freelancer assigned to it is bad.
at a translator freelancer.
Well, Seven Seas is a little weird because they have translators and then they have rewriters.
Ooh.
And so some of our translators turn in humans do not talk like this. Are you sure that you know English? And
I find that interesting. The way translation can change, especially from Japanese to English,
and
because like
yeah.
yeah, please go
So
ahead.
then like, and then you have some rewriters who are not good at their job, end up writing every character to sound the same and put like a lot of slang in there. So it's an isekai based off like the 1700s, and a character is saying something is cringe.
Well, are they from? Are they?
Nope.
The
This
world as
is
we
this
are?
is a nobleman in this
Okay.
fake fantasy
All right.
world. Yeah.
Got it. All right. I find that interesting when it comes to like Japanese to English translation because I don't know much about the Japanese language other than like certain kanji and words can mean like different ways and different things in the way they're in the sentence, something like that, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Well,
so I was reading what's that?
so there's no spaces. I'm learning Japanese on Duolingo, and that's the thing that keeps tripping me up is there's no spaces between the kanji. So there's no delineation of this is the start of a new word and this is the end of a word. You just have to know.
But it's also like it could show a bias in the way it is translated. 'Cause
Yeah.
do you know Dead Demons DDD destruction?
Yeah.
Before I read and enjoyed the official translation, I was looking it up just on a scanlation site that some whatever guy did the translation for, and there's a scene early on when the girl who had like a boyfriend wanted to prove to the others that she was I'll show them who's not weird or not normal or whatever. And that's how the official translation went, not verbatim, but something to that. But the scanlation guy, the same scene, he used the term, and I apologize for saying this, normal fag.
Okay.
Like she called them normal f words, and I'm like, well, someone's bias is fucking showing
Yeah.
in this translation. Like that's a little like you could be a little more professional, sir. I say to this free scanlation website comment section.
Yeah. Then so there's also some stuff that's just hard to turn into English. So I am editing one manga series that is about an actor who is playing a gay man in a role. So for quote unquote research, he goes to a gay bar. And then he runs into his co-star, and for quote unquote research, they start dating each other. But one of the other characters is playing a gender fluid character in the TV show. But the term that is used is like not as much as isn't as bad as the T slur. But they're not saying transgender and they're not saying drag queen. They're saying like a thing that's like in between the two. So it's like, well, how do we translate this? Because they're kind of getting called something offensive, but it's not as offensive as calling them a flat out slur.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, how do you translate something like that? Like, is it in the story that the character being called that is like lightly offended, or the
Well,
character
no,
saying
because
that
so
is
it's
kind of an
so
idiot
they're an
figure?
actor playing a character. So it's the actor is describing the character they're playing.
Okay.
So it's the actor's like, yeah, I'm playing a T slur, and so which is I think because since they aren't that identity, that's why they're using a kind of offensive term. But
I mean, I know a lot of
yeah.
gay folks around here who just slap around calling each other f words and all the time.
Yeah.
So like it's different. I
Yeah.
don't have the I don't have the authority to say boo to that.
Yeah, no,
one
no,
way or
no.
the
So
other.
yeah, so that's it's like yeah,
But I do find I do find that kind of like ruling
yeah.
interesting, and I would love to talk to someone about that
And
in a
then
space.
sometimes, so I'm the editor on the manga version of My Dear Friend Nakotan, which have you
Oh
seen an
yeah,
episode of that?
yes,
So
I've seen a couple episodes
one
on
of
that.
the bonus comics in the back was referencing a Japanese meme, and the joke of the meme is that it's incorrect. So I was like, we can't do this because people will just think we translated it wrong.
I see. Yeah, yeah,
Because the
kind of
Amer
like puns not being able to
well, it's
translate
like
very
so it's
well.
like because the American audience doesn't know the meme. The meme is like a picture of an elephant, and it says like "Fear the mighty cheetah," and then
Okay,
so it's like intentionally wrong in the meme. That's why it's funny.
but that is wholly a Japanese
Meme, yeah,
thing.
yeah, that is
Interesting.
a
You just got
meme.
to make up a brand new joke at that point, you know?
Yeah, so I turned it into a Doge meme reference. But yeah, it was like, all right, even though Doge is kind of old, they memes get old quick. So
Yeah, more recognizable in for English language viewers.
yeah,
100%.
yeah,
I do find that interesting. Just like the low lost, whatever is lost in translation and what is gained,
yeah.
also, you know,
Cause I love the
going
Yu
one
Yu
way or the
Hakusho
other.
dub, but that is not an accurate translation.
Yeah, yeah, like those old dubs from when we were kids and shit are like, some of them are just straight up goofy,
Like
you know?
with Yu Yu Hakusho, it's like I think it's a good sweet spot because it's not completely made up like Samurai Pizza Cats.
Mhm.
And it's not censored all to hell like the original Sailor Moon dub.
Yeah,
But it is like, well, they're delinquents, so like we have to make that clear with their dialogue in an American way versus a Japanese way. Like,
yeah. They got to call each other names. Probably call them the R slurs a bunch. Uh, a lot of a lot of younger stuff or humor, I should
mm-hmm.
say, in like for younger Japanese comics, I've found is mostly pun based,
Yeah,
and a lot of Japanese puns just can't translate very well
yeah.
over here.
In my
Like
dear
I
friend
think Polar
Naka,
Bear Cafe.
in my dear friend Nakatan, it's like
Yeah,
obviously that's a pun that works. A word that's wordplay that works in English, but like in
hmm
Japanese, it's a tongue twister.
so it's a different. It's a different kind of wordplay.
Yeah. And then the main character and her sister are named after different types of potatoes. So there's a lot of potato jokes.
Okay, all right.
So it's like, okay, well, I'll just put a note that their names are potatoes because otherwise, like, this doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So many little things just to read a manga,
But
especially
Nakotan's a lot
gag
of
manga.
fun.
I like the episodes I saw. They were putting them on YouTube for free for a while, like just one episode free for a week, second episode free for a week or something like that. They seemed good, but it also seemed like it was the translation on the YouTube side just seemed very computerized or AI or something. Like
Well,
it was translating correctly, but not like naturally. You know?
well, here's the thing: is that might actually be the best way
the
to
case.
translate it because it is that weird.
Okay. Well, there you go.
That was the thing that I brought up. Like, it got accused of using AI, and then someone, one of my coworkers, pointed out like AI would not be able to do this amount of cleverness with the translation,
Mm.
but it's just such a weird series that
Yeah. I just noticed a little. I definitely noticed that more. Not in my dear friend Nakatan, but in I was downloading a quick copy of the Concierge,
mhm.
that anime movie about the lady in the animal world, the animal
Mhm.
shopping world. Um, I guess that's coming out officially Netflix or something. But I was just like, well, it's already out now, and I could find a good subtitle for it, so I just go and
Yeah,
find it. But the subtitles for that, someone just like. I wouldn't call that AI, but it's definitely like
it's
they rushed
bad.
it and
Yeah.
didn't actually stop to be like, no one actually says it this way. No one actually says I can't believe I'm confused when they're trying to say please for sorry for the confusion. Essentially,
Mhm.
it is a bad translation, and that really had stopped me from fucking watching the movie. But the manga came out, and the manga is gorgeous. I love the way that looks. Did you ever see it?
What's the full title?
The concierge at the Hokkaido
Okay.
shopping district. Not
What?
Hokkaido, but I'm getting it wrong. I can look it up.
Yeah, link me to it because there's several
The co-
concierge series that.
yeah, the manga is fully called The Concierge at Hokyoku Department Store.
Okay,
Hokyoku Department Store.
that sounds
And
vaguely familiar.
I don't know who's putting it out. Maybe Seven Seas also.
That might be why it sounds
Anyway,
vaguely familiar.
I love the art. The cartoonist who's doing the work is very great with their pen work. A lot of stippling and
Yeah.
lines and stuff like that. Beautiful
If you want to
stuff.
see some fun line work, look up Yakuza Reincarnation. It's about an old Yakuza man is isekai that he's now a fantasy princess. So he's gonna solve these princess problems with Yakuza tactics.
God.
And so that's one of the ones that I'm editing. And there's like demons that like erupt from people's bodies, and like the line art as these demons like take people over or like explode outward
Hmm.
is great. I'm gonna pull some up on my screen.
Oh, then I'll watch your screen
Yeah.
on the YouTube. I should have mentioned this before. Should we tweet about that we're doing this?
The Iron Circus Twitter posted it.
Oh, okay. Well, I could have retweeted that. My mistake.
Not the Twitter,
Well,
the Blue Sky. Because fuck
oh, do you
Twitter.
guys not fuck with Twitter anymore? Okay,
I
that's fair.
mean, Sylphy, who updates our stuff, does, but with
I don't blame you.
yeah,
It's really weird.
it's a
It's
cesspool.
really weird over there anymore. Uh, cool. Okay. Let me see some of that.
Now I'm trying to find a really good like weird demon
Is
fight. Yeah,
excuse me.
so there's like a mermaid lady.
Let me see. Oh, all right. Are these actual PSDs or Clip Studio files you're opening up?
Oh, they're JPEGs that I'm opening up because Seven Seas always gives us the whole book is JPEGs first, so we compare the translated script with the Japanese originals.
Cool.
So yeah, like look at this cool smoke.
Let me see it. Ooh, yeah. All right, I got it pulled up myself on a special website. I shan't say the name of,
Hmm.
but I see what you mean.
Yeah,
The line work is very nice and quick, and oh, I like that.
yeah,
Yeah, that's good. That pops. She's just being yakuza about it.
yeah,
Yada yada.
yeah.
Oh, oh, these guys.
I hope this one gets an anime. I don't quite know how it would look as an anime because the line work is so much like what's there.
Hmm.
Like they could. It would just depend on the budget.
Those, yeah, yeah, those folks can find a way. As much as I enjoy like the look of the concierge manga, and I do a lot. I think the anime looks very well done. Also, I still want to watch it, but it's like it's tough to watch that with such a bad translation.
Yeah.
It's not doing the beautiful visuals any good.
I also really like Ordinary Guy Reincarnated as a Fantasy Knockout.
Oh
It's
boy, there's the guys aren't there.
yeah, there's so many. But Fantasy Knockout is good because it's making fun of the other isekais,
All
while
right.
also talking about gender. It's written by a husband and wife team, and it's two best friends get isekai'd together, and one of them is turned into a hot girl, and then they piss off the god that isekai'd them, so she curses them to be extremely attracted to each other. So they're trying to not hook up while they save the world.
Oh, an unfortunate meet cute.
Um, and then and then they find out that like there are 12 gods in this world and each of them isekai to hero, so it's like a bet to see whose hero can defeat the demon lord.
I feel like you told me about this
Yeah.
at the Toronto. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I really like it a lot. It's a lot of kind of stupid jokes, and the goddess of darkness's hero is like an edgelord teen who gave himself a really long German name because he thinks it sounds cool, the way American kids would give themselves like a Japanese screen name.
Sure. I
Uh,
gave myself an edgy screen name. I think not edgy, but it seems edgy
yeah.
in retrospect. Would you like to hear it?
Yes.
This is my AOL screen name. That's right, America Online. Slim Shady 216.
Yeah. That's a good one. That's a good
I like. What can I say? I like Eminem.
um this kid's like name is like what Japanese kids, it's like the Japanese kid equivalent of an American kid being like Sephiroth,
XX
yeah,
dot
Sephiroth,
underscore.
Guts, Berserk, XX, like, yeah,
Well, there's a good question. Who would win in a fight, Sephiroth or Guts?
Guts,
Yeah,
Guts, Guts,
I have to go to Guts.
yeah,
I mean, Sephiroth, I know he's kind of a, I don't want to call him a joke, but he's like you go to him for like a quick like, oh, he's gonna kick all our asses. But I don't know. I've never really seen him do that to anyone other than Cloud, and then he just became a god at the end
yeah,
of the seven. And guess what? Guts has killed gods before.
yeah, Guts kills gods all the time.
Yeah,
Uh,
Guts is so good at that.
yeah, except he hasn't killed that one god. He'll
Well,
get
that one
Griffith
gets away
one
from
day.
him. That one slips through his little fingers
Yeah.
all the time. Mm.
There's a conversation online about disabilities in fantasy and sci-fi, and some idiot was like, it completely doesn't make sense for a disabled person to be in a dark, gritty fantasy story. They just wouldn't survive. And immediately, 5 different other people brought up, like within 5 minutes of him posting that, several people brought up Guts is an amputee.
Yep. He's an amputee. He was
Missing an eye.
forgotten at birth,
Yep.
essentially. You know.
He was born in a pile of corpses.
Yeah. I see where the bad faith man is coming from, because a lot of those things would see, like, my child is a cripple, and they would just kill it or whatever, and that's that person's dark fantasy. But don't say it never happens, because we
Yeah.
got Guts, baby.
Yeah. And like also people who love like edgy fantasy stuff love Game of Thrones, and Bran is cripple and that from falling off a tower, like in the
Yeah.
first chapter.
It's there. They
Yeah,
just want to be.
they
They just want to argue.
they're
'cause
like that
stupid.
doesn't count. Like
Then what does count? Keep moving the goalpost.
yeah,
Fred.
yeah. Also unrealistic, but there's dragons flying around.
Yeah. And then Puck is there.
I mean, as a general, like unrealistic for a fantasy show, but there's dragons running around, so
Yeah. You think they say that? Whoever would say that says that because they would do that to their son or daughter.
I definitely
They,
think that's part of it.
yeah. You're giving away too much of your own
Yeah,
game by saying like it's unrealistic. I'm like, what would you do? Huh?
yeah.
You had a baby that was born. Talent on themselves.
Yep.
These people these days. I follow this random artist on Instagram who caught my eye because they do um, I don't know how to call it. It's not quite multiverse, but they use characters from all types of cartoons and comics, whether it be South Park, whether it be Steven Universe, whether it be Guts from Berserk or whatever. And they're just making their own weird drama out of all these characters. And they know it's goofy and they know it's like stupid to do this, but they're just not caring and they're doing it anyway.
Crossover fan
So like,
comics.
yes, it's a very sincere but kind of like not super on the nose crossover fan comic, because the one that caught my eye was one they did with Guts and older Stan from South Park. Sort of having a meet cute in the woods where Stan was sort of watching and washing over Guts's scars and stuff like that, and just trying not to look too deeply at him or whatever. Basically taking over. I forget the girl's name from
Casca.
Berserk. Casca's role,
Um,
in a way, and I was like, "This is very sincere, but I don't hate it." and then the more I watch them, the more there's other plot lines, like with SpongeBob being a freak in bed with Brian Griffin or whatever, something to do with Duckman at some point. And they even use the fucking Steven Universe Sans kind of fan, the jokey fan theory. If you've ever heard,
I
of
haven't
that.
heard this one. What is it?
There's some kind of a jokey or super serious fan theory about how how Sans is an alternate universe Steve from Steven Universe or whatever. Like he's the bad universe. He's the bad ending Steven or whatever. Like he gets sick and then just can't die, so he just turns into Sans the skeleton from Undertale.
All right.
And they just take that and they play with it, and they have like a scene at a bar where Garnet is fucking trying to talk to Amethyst about it, and she's just like, I don't want to hear this. Like, I guess his name is Sans or Steven now. I don't know. Just these weird character moments, and I find it very like charming. These weird
Good.
comics because they put a lot of effort into it too. Like I gotta say,
I've been reading a lot
high
of
effort shit.
yeah.
High effort shit.
I've been reading a lot of Baldur's Gate fan comics. I've fallen into a
Oh boy.
Baldur's Gate hole. I
I want
want
to shout out this girl. I want to find her.
I want to know about all the little I want to know about all the little blurbos and their adventures.
Sure. What are they up to? These blorbos of mine.
Yeah. Cuz it's fun cuz it's a lot of people making comics about like their custom NPC like character, their custom player character.
Oh, sure.
So um and that
I never got too far in Baldur's Gate.
I've it's taken over my
True.
life.
I could tell.
Uh,
No, the people who love it will like love it for good reasons. I got into it for a little bit because it helped sort of like understand the rules of the Dungeons and Dragons character I am playing.
uh-huh.
It helps me understand how to play a monk better
Yeah.
in the Dungeons and Dragons show I'm doing. Um,
Well, so the
but I find it like difficult just to stay engaged a little bit
so the thing is I
with all the
had
plot lines
difficulty
and
being
threads.
engaged in
Mm.
Dungeons and Dragons. And basically the fight would start and my brain would start to check out. My friend who was DMing the game was like, the fight starts and there's like a countdown for Kel's attention. And
Well, I like fighting. Maybe not in Baldur's Gate. Maybe Baldur's Gate might be better if I actually had a better computer and not my PS5 or whatever to play
well,
it on.
so it's like I don't like fighting in D&D. And think it's boring. And I realized what the problem is, and kudos to Larian is I really like to fuck with my surroundings and do things that are clever. And since D&D is all you can't actually see it. And so you have to depend on the DM to describe it. And they're
Mm.
not going to describe stuff in as detailed as the rendering of backgrounds in Baldur's Gate. But so there's stuff like you can sneak up onto the rafters in one of the first boss fights, like when you attack the goblin camp. And then you can just
Yeah.
like sniper them all from up in the rafters, and none of those characters can get to you while you snipe them.
Damn.
And then like the tomb where you find withers, those guys arguing. There's a giant
Mhm.
like rock on a crane thing above them, and before talking to them, you can actually shoot the rope that's holding that rock up and like insta kill them.
I think I did that after the fact, but I was like, oh, that's obvious. Like,
Yeah.
if I had an arrow or if I knew how to equip my bow and arrow in
Yeah.
this game, I could definitely get them. I like I like I like fighting in D&D when I'm playing it on the Skull Tenders, but I do find uh, it is kind of fun to sort of go. I'm not just doing everything a monk can do. I'm like, well, what's around me? Can I
Mm-hmm.
can I shove this huge anchor off the side of the ship we're on and have it smash down into the bad guy?
Mm-hmm.
I can. Well, okay then.
And yeah, so I just like how they really thought of a lot of different stuff, like, and what people were
Mm.
gonna do. I found a YouTuber who is intentionally trying to break the game, basically story wise, and was like, Solarian thought of all of my dumb ideas.
Hmm.
And um, she has not successfully quote unquote broken the game yet.
What would be breaking the game for this
When
person?
it's like the game can't, the plot of the game can't move forward.
Oh, I see.
To quote Morrowind, the threads of destiny have been severed, and you cannot complete your task. Cause
A couple stuff like that happened to me, or like almost happened to me, and then I got saved. I got Deus Ex Machina saved within the game.
mhm.
I forget how. Like some devil, I think the literal devil,
Yeah,
like saved me from an issue in the Goblin camp that one time.
yeah.
It's been a while since I played it, and I did some weird. I wasn't really paying attention. I wasn't going with the story as much as I was just like, well, what's over here? Then I got caught by something. Was like, oh, am I fucked?
You are not
Uh,
fucked.
I was not fucked.
Then there was another person on YouTube who was like, "Can how far can I get in Baldur's Gate without killing anybody?"
Mm.
They wanted to see if they could beat the game without killing anyone.
I do like trying those things in
Yeah,
games, especially if the game offers that, like in not just Baldur's Gate, but
yeah. No, I love it when games do have
there are
stuff like
plenty of
that.
games that
Yeah,
do that. Yeah, yeah, there are plenty of games that do.
it's the problem with Skyrim is all the people are invincible because they're important.
The game like that, or even Fallout, like 3 or 4, it's like, well, just give me the nicest, silentest gun, and I'll do the rest.
Yeah. Well, it's like if you try to kill a quote unquote plot important person in
Ah,
Skyrim, they they just get knocked out and then they get back up after a couple of minutes.
it's the
Um,
same in
yeah,
Fallout, but why
yeah.
would you want to in the first place? I guess.
Oh well, in Fallout New Vegas, you can kill everybody.
True.
So maybe you can.
I remember doing there was like a cheat or like a glitch, not a cheat, but a an infinite XP glitch
Uh huh.
that you could do in Fallout 3, where you're doing some kind of thing for the kid town,
Uh huh.
the town of kids,
Yeah.
and it was like it would give you a lot if you just did this boring thing for like 20 minutes, you could get insane amount of XP and be overpowered. And I did that, and then I saved 2 different slots, one to just play the game normally then but overpowered, and then one to kill everything
Yeah.
overpowered, just to see how far I could get away with that before I'm just like, no, I'll just kill this guy, that guy, fuck the game, fuck the story.
And you can do that in Fallout New Vegas. You can go through the whole game that way.
Little lamplight, yeah, thank you. I don't need to anymore. I already know what happens. New Vegas wasn't that interesting to me. I know it's a good game.
Yeah.
I get that now, but it is kind of just like such an empty fucking field of nothingness for like a long time.
I
Uh,
yeah.
I just couldn't get into it.
I never played any of the Fallout games. I realized that I've my disinterest in guns is why I
Mm,
could never get into the Fallout games. You if
that's
they
fair.
gave
Yeah.
me so it's like I played a lot of Skyrim, but so it made me realize like oh I hate guns but I do like bows and arrows.
Well, you can get a silenced gun that's kind of like a bow and arrow in Fallout 4. It's pretty good.
It's pure aesthetics thing. It's like
Yeah,
yeah
I know
yeah.
what you're saying.
It's, there's no
I
yeah
really like the VAT system, the way they introduced that in 3. Well, not introduced it, but the way they implemented it in 3 and 4, where it's kind of like it just slows down and you can just target shit. And you could do that in 1 and 2. I get that,
hmm
but I really liked how it was in 3 and 4, and New Vegas, I guess too.
Yeah.
And Skyrim didn't have that, and that's tough. Oh, it's tough for me.
But
The
it's
aim.
but on a similar note, like I never got into Mass Effect, but I played all the Dragon Age games. So it is very clearly like there is no
You have a bias.
yeah, the bias is against guns. What are guns doing here? Get out.
I played the reboot Mass Effect for Xbox One or something. I think it was just called Mass Effect. I did not get that far into it. I forgot it was kind of like a deeper RPG where you had to like talk to everyone,
Yeah.
fuck everyone, whatever.
Yeah.
And I was like, I I don't really want to play this type of. I don't know. I mean, I got into it in Fallout, but more often than not, I'm looking for just like a quick challenge, a platformer of sorts. Only
Um,
once in a while do I want like a big stinky RPG to like sink my teeth into.
See, it's big stinky RPGs or just all RimWorld all the time when I'm playing games. um, uh, Bones and I were watching a YouTuber, and said YouTuber is like, I've played a lot of RimWorld, and they show their like hour count at on Steam, and it was like 1,000 hours. And Bones was like,
Mm.
I bet Kel has played more hours than this guy, and messaged me, and I was like, yes, I have. I have played 5,000 hours of RimWorld.
Damn. I know I've heard you and others have talked about this, but
I know
it is
Spike
definitely
likes it a
something I
lot.
submit. Yeah.
Spike's the one who told me about it. It's just like I like resource management games.
Yeah,
And
that's exactly what this seems like. Yeah.
yeah, and it's like just enough like disasters that like I can build a fun little thing and it keeps me on my toes. Uh,
Mm. I never got into games like that. The only game I've gotten like 1,000 hours into or more is Binding of Isaac in all its various in versions, whether it be the original Flash version that was just looked like crap because it was made in Flash, or the various versions of Binding of Isaac Rebirth that they put out on Steam, the 3DS, the PS Vita, the Switch,
mhm.
the PlayStation 4. Um, Man, oh man, it's hard for me to get back to that game once in a while. It's good. I enjoy those types of fucking roguelikes, but kind of over just getting stuck into like everyone that's trying to do the Binding of Isaac thing without actually making it, I don't know,
Interesting.
interesting or
Yeah.
good. Yeah, like there are 1,000 different roguelikes out there, and let me tell you, I've played them, and not all of them stuck with me like Binding.
It's I realized so my buddy Kevin sent me an article
Mm.
that was about like what people find enjoyable in video games, like different metrics, and how that is a better predictor of if someone's gonna like the gameplay of a game. And one of the like scales was like how much exploration there is, and then
Mm.
one is like resource or inventory management. And all the games that I really like score high on one or both of those two categories. I'm not as interested in like combat stuff, but yeah, I like exploring and I like in resource management.
Mm.
So I did play a lot of Breath of the Wild when it came out.
Yeah, I was just saying how much wasn't Tears of the Kingdom earlier this year or last year?
Yeah, I still haven't played that yet. I own it, but I haven't cracked it open yet. I have to finish writing a graphic novel before I start playing it.
The carrot at the end
Yeah,
of the
though
stick, I
now
guess.
Baldur's Gate has consumed my life,
Oh
so
no.
maybe I don't care about Tears of the Kingdom anymore.
That's that's fine and fair. It's a different game, but
Yeah.
I know what you mean. I know what
I
you mean.
gotta
I don't really
kiss all the
play.
Blorbos in Baldur's Gate 3.
I get it. There's so many Blorbos to kiss. I understand. Um, I honestly don't play as much random just whatever games anymore.
Yeah.
I'll still play. Like I'm playing the new Zelda, Echoes of Wisdom, and UFO 50 is pretty good. It's very good, I should say. It's very good. UFO 50. I don't know. I kind of had to get away from that because boy oh boy is playing those types of games and drawing and typing kind of smashed on the hurt the hand a lot.
Yeah. So that's the other reason why I think I like resource management games or games that aren't combat-y is you can think a little bit before your next step. Like when it comes to RPGs, I think I liked that turn-based combat in JRPGs more so than like something like Zelda.
Yeah,
I never got into Elden Ring because I was like, I don't want to test my reflexes in a game. I want to do strategy stuff.
yeah. No, I like that. I completely understand, but I think I've definitely reached a limit with Elden Ring because the DLC came out and I loved it, but I haven't played it in months. And when I think about going back, I'm like, I have no interest in going back to that thing whatsoever. I'm done. Like I feel like I am
But
good
like
with Elden
a
Ring.
lot of other games that aren't as brutal as Elden Ring, like Devil May Cry, Bayonetta,
Mhm.
they're all
Those
like,
are
yeah,
those are real. I don't want to call them button mashers because I've seen the way people can like really get. They're very combo heavy stuff, so
yeah,
you've
and
got
it
to
is
keep
about like hitting
mashing
things at the
certain
right
buttons.
time. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Um, Dark Souls and Elden Ring and stuff like that is of a similar vein, but slower
yeah,
and more deliberate. But it is a very similar like you can get like a good mix of hacking, slashing, doing like an amazing magic attack, just fucking juggling
yeah.
some guy.
So like everything I've heard about Elden Ring hasn't really made me want to play it.
Yeah.
But do you watch Super Eye Patch Wolf's YouTubes?
No, I know who they are, but
Have
I don't
you
watch them.
heard of the game Fear and Hunger?
Yes, yes, I
Yeah,
have Fear and Hunger
so
too.
Super Eye Patch Wolf made a Fear and Hunger video, and I was like, I want to play this game.
I got it. I only have like I have my Mac and I have a Steam Deck, and
Mhm.
it plays okay on the Steam Deck. But
Be-
I did. It is like it's a tough game where it's like I got far enough and then I just fucking died, and that character is just dead now. So maybe I'll come at this again later.
yeah, but it is like a lot of
Um,
strategy stuff too,
mhm.
and like remembering how to defeat the enemies and whatnot, and what order to hit them where.
Yeah, yeah. You're very shoved in the middle of this, this game without much
Yeah.
help, and I don't mind games like that. It is a hard what do you call it? Is a hard threshold to bust through though,
Hmm.
on purpose.
And apparently the sequel's also really good. And the third one's coming out soon.
Damn, they're already making a third.
Yep. It's just
Okay,
one
I think I
guy.
have the. Oh, okay, I
Um,
think I have the second one.
mhm.
'Cause I was told that one is more interesting than the first. Um, Still,
From what I've seen, it has more story and like character interactions.
yeah, there
Whereas,
was a longer story opening.
yeah, whereas like the first one, it seems like they're kind of archetypes.
Mm.
Rather than like full people, except for that one character that's basically Griffith.
Who isn't basically Griffith these days? Okay, I think I found their Fear and Hunger game. The Super Eye Patch Wolf one. I'm gonna watch that later.
And also, you get a dog. Every game where you get a
boy.
dog is great.
Yeah. Does it stay alive? Or do I have to go to doesthedogdie.net to make sure it's okay?
If you keep the dog alive,
Oh, so it's my fault the dog dies.
well, because it's the dog is part of your party, so
Oh. Well, then I'll just play Mother 3 again. The dog's a part of my party in that one too. I can't believe it's already fucking October.
yeah. Time is an acid trip.
Jesus Christ, is it ever? Tell me about it.
I watch way too much YouTube. Like, I was trying to talk to someone about like TV shows I've watched recently, and I was like, I don't watch TV shows anymore. I just watch YouTubers talk about TV shows.
Yeah, I try not to. Like YouTube's just so good for like just random bullshit when you're drawing.
Yeah.
But you know what else is? Music that I like, music that I haven't heard before, or something like that. Rather than just the news, or worse, YouTube drama between other YouTube people.
Oh, I hate those. I've
That
unsubscribed
doesn't
from
matter.
several YouTubers because they started to only do like YouTube drama videos, and it's like, I don't care about these.
There's like a couple guys I follow that dip into that sometimes, and one of them is very aware, and they're like, you could leave right now and you don't have to worry about this. You're not going to miss anything. I have a better video coming out later.
Well, because I like several YouTubers that have a political bent, and I feel like they always, so many of them have just gotten into infinite fights with Vosh. And I'm like, I don't care about the shitty things that he's saying.
Yeah, just leave him be. Just let him flounder and die.
Don't talk to him.
Yeah. Or Destiny.
Yeah, mostly.
Guy that they.
Mostly, I've seen them get in fights with Vosh, and I was like, I don't care. Please stop talking about him.
But that's the point in my YouTube watch where I'm like, this is all just like YouTube infighting, or like awful political stuff that I'm already aware of. And I would just rather fucking listen to music again. Music that I forgot I hadn't listened to yet, or something. I would rather have nothing but silence while I draw.
I really like to listen to fan theories. Especially if they're insane. Like, I have watched so many very long videos.
Do they put that right on the label, insane fan theories?
Well, if someone says, like, because they always put their thesis statement, and then it's like, and this video is 3 hours long, and I'm like, I know this person is the whole video is gonna be that Charlie Day, Pepe Sevilla meme. Like, there's a 6 hour long video about how Brandon Stark is a time traveler in Game of Thrones, and everyone's a secret Targaryen except for Daenerys, who's secretly not a Targaryen. It's great. It's like scratching the itch I have about conspiracy theories, but no one is getting hurt. Like, it doesn't end in anti-Semitism. It ends in weird. Yeah.
Yeah. No, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Like, conspiracy theories used to be kind of fun to listen to.
But now they're all the answer is anti-Semitism.
Yeah. Like Art Bell used to be fun to listen to, and then fucking what's his dick? Not Joe Rogan.
Mm-hmm.
Alex
Jones.
What's his name? Alex Jones. Just got in and started his old bullshit, and just made it unfun for everybody.
Yeah. So instead, I'll just listen to how the Maesters secretly plotted to kill all the dragons. And here's the vast evidence as to why. And there's Kristen
There's all
Cheney.
these.
There's like endless versions of that conspiracy theories surrounding The Shining. Like,
Oh sure.
yeah, there's a whole movie about it. It's
Oh,
like called Room something.
yeah. Um, yeah, good old conspiracy theory videos like that. Fucking loose change.
Yeah.
I bet loose change would be a wild one to re-listen to now. Oh god,
Um,
stupid one.
I also like hearing behind the scenes stuff. Have you seen the documentary about making the Island of Dr. Moreau movie?
No,
Um,
that's an interesting thing though, to like just behind the scenes, like directors' commentaries.
yeah. Well, so this is fun because it's like that's a movie that's horrible, and here's
Mm.
all the train wreck things that happened that led to this movie getting
Okay,
made.
now that now that's interesting.
And the thing is, they interview the original director who was worried he was going to get pulled off the movie. So he says with a completely straight face to the interviewer, "So I called up my wizard friend. Um, and he cast a spell to make the movie successful."
Now is this which Island of Dr. Monroe movie
The one
are
with
we talking
Marlon
about? Like
Brando in
the old
it.
one? Okay.
And then,
Oh wait, I think I found it. I think I found it.
yeah. And then there's a part where they're talking to the lead actress. I forget her name, but she was in Waterboy as the love interest.
Mm.
And she's like the bad one in The Craft. But so they're interviewing her about it, and they're like, so we were told that one day during filming, you got high and climbed in a tree and refused to come down. And she says, I don't remember
What if
that
I did?
happening, but it's probably true. And and there's a part where she tries to flee the set, not realizing that they're in the Australian outback. So the cab ride that she got to the Sydney airport was going to be like an 18-hour cab ride.
Feruza Balk. Oh my god.
Um,
18 hours. Jesus Christ. The Fair. She was Dorothy in Return to Oz. Too.
yeah.
That's one I've been wanting to watch for a while. Return to Oz.
That one's weird in a good way.
I know. I remember seeing it once as a kid and being like, "Why did they do this to the Wizard of Oz?" Not realizing that's how what the book was.
Except the book's
Um,
gayer.
I don't doubt that at all. But I never read the book.
Yeah.
Maybe I should do that instead of reading Alice in Wonderland over and over.
It's a fun read. And then there's an audiobook version that's read by Anne Hathaway. She does a good job.
Mm. Of the Wizard.
Yeah, the whole series.
Yeah, I'm going to give this a go. Yeah, in lieu of video games and stuff, I feel like I've been reading more, which is good. A good thing, I've been told.
I just started a really good book called No Gods, No Monsters.
That sounds familiar.
That's about, well, it's a play off the anarchist saying no gods, no masters.
Sure, but I specifically think that the other one does sound familiar, but
But it's about leftist werewolves, and I was like, "This is 100% my jam. Give it to me, straight into my veins."
Leftist werewolves. You
Um,
had me at leftist werewolves.
yeah. Well, so what's interesting about it is the author on his website said the main character is the community. It's not any of the individual characters, because it's kind of like a bunch of little short stories
Sure,
that
yeah.
interconnect. Because the inciting incident is that people find out that magic's real. So it's all these different people and different parts of society reacting to that news.
Mm.
And he was like, I kind of wanted to make The Wire, but with magic. Because have you seen The Wire?
No, that's another one that's
Because it like
on the list
follows
to
a
watch.
cop for a little while, and then it jumps to like a gang member, and then it jumps to like
Yeah, yeah.
the
It
dock
ranges.
workers,
Yeah.
and yeah.
Mm.
And so that kind of structure is also like I dug it a lot. I'm like halfway through.
Mm. There's this one called The Loney. You ever heard of that?
No, I haven't.
Lonely. The Loney. I didn't like it. Just straight up. I'm just gonna say that right now. I did not like it, but I did finish it. It was kind of like set. I think in like Moors of England,
Mm-hmm.
where a bunch of like weird Christians are going to some old house to be like, we got to do the Easter ceremonies, especially for the narrator's mentally handicapped older brother.
Mm-hmm.
And we're gonna save him, we're gonna fix him, etc. Thanks to this Easter service, we're all gonna do in this shitty cottage we all live in a town that doesn't want you there, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And it sets that up pretty well, but nothing about it, in my opinion, felt very like fucking tense or scary. It just felt like a bad church outing that everyone was stuck in. And there were some moments of like interesting horrific things
Mm-hmm.
kind of happening around them. Like some guys are playing pranks with like butchered pigs and things like that to scare them in some way or whatever. And whatever the inciting incident that was supposed to happen near the end felt like it just fell flat on its fucking face. And I read the whole thing and was like, what was I supposed to take away from that? You know, it was just I felt like it was trying to scare me with like half an idea.
I
And
hate it when
it
that
did not work.
happens.
It just felt so. It felt a lot of substance, no style, and it had all these fucking pull quotes on the front, like from Stephen King, which is like that's fine. King, I don't blame him for putting like a I love this book on there. He'll read whatever,
Yeah.
you know. But there's other people on the back that are just like this is so atmospheric and great and blah 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 and whatever. And man, I just felt kind of like not really tense, but not bored either. I have to admit, I did read the whole thing, but it was mostly on the unkept promise of maybe something will happen at the end, and then nothing really did.
That sucks.
But I soldiered through it, and now I'm reading Bob Odenkirk's memoir, comedy drama, which is very good. You can definitely hear it in his voice as he just talks about, yeah, I was in Second City. I knew Chris Farley. What a mess.
uh, I have so many audiobooks I need to get through.
That's better to listen to than a fucking YouTube.
Yeah,
A 3 hour YouTube.
yeah, yeah. I know. I should. I should focus on my
I know
audiobooks.
we're all yeah.
I recently
Easier
read
said
a
than done.
good one called "Debt: The First 5,000 Years," which is about
Dep.
the history of debt.
Oh, that. Okay.
Yeah,
Interesting.
and how our economy's fucked up. Because his the guy starts with debt actually predates money.
Well,
Because
like the barter system and
well,
shit.
because like ancient Sumeria would keep track of like how much product people were growing, and you would owe taxes based on like your crops, and so they would keep track of how much you owed that way. And then if you couldn't pay in like products and crops, like you would end up like in servitude. But the thing that a lot of ancient civilizations did with debt is every 10 years it would get wiped. The slut would get wiped clean.
Interesting.
So if your debt was over 10 years old, you wouldn't have to pay the rest of it.
When did they stop doing that?
Like capitalism, baby.
Woo.
Credit cards, basically.
Mm, interesting.
But he also talks about like how different cultures approach debt. So like a thing he talks about is early civilization in Africa. If you paid off all your debts, that was actually considered rude and insulting because you only paid off your debts if you never wanted to talk to that person again.
I
Because
love how the idea of
yeah,
I would call this greed in some
yeah.
way. You know, the idea of that kind of greed is so like insidious and in different ways and different forms. Oh, you'd never want to see me again. You pay off your whole debt to me, and you that what a mean thing to say.
Well,
I'm going to kill you
and he
now.
when he explains it, he's like, because it's like you're a community. So if you go and get an egg from your neighbor, and then later they want sugar, they're not going to want or need the amount of sugar to pay for the egg that they lend you. So it's like everyone always owes everyone slightly a little bit. And so by paying off those like exact amounts, you're saying, I'm done with everyone here and I'm leaving. Fuck y'all, I'm gone.
That is like that the whole town just reading too much into it. That is a whole civilization reading too much into this
Yeah.
shit.
So
Like Christ.
um because if you owe someone,
I can't
yeah.
wait for like the bank to start saying that to like creditors. Oh, so you don't want to bank with us anymore? You paid off all your debt?
I mean that they do that. Your credit score goes down if you pay off all your debts. If you don't have any debt, you're punished.
Believe me. I know. You should see my fucking taxes. Ugh, this is awesome. I love debt. I love money. I love being in debt. I love having too much money. I love the government being mad about that.
Yeah. So it was definitely an interesting book. And
I'm adding that to the list. I wanna check that out later.
the same guy wrote a thing called Bullshit Jobs.
Mm.
And it's basically how because of capitalism, we have a lot of jobs that really just exist, so someone has a job.
Not anymore, am I right? Oh,
Well, it's certain type of person needs to have a job.
sure.
Like so
Yeah.
it's yeah, so it's like okay, we have automated some stuff and you don't need as many workers, but rather than paying the workers you do have more, you just don't. And then that leads to people not having disposable income, and then everyone's sales go down and the economy is hurt. So we need to make jobs that are like literally just you need to stand here. Or
Going back to Sopranos,
Yeah.
those no-show jobs they all needed
Yeah.
just to keep fucking insurance.
Yeah. And then but also he says there's another type of bullshit job which is called that he calls like a leaky bucket job.
Mm.
So he's like metaphorically in a corporate structure a pipe is leaking. A metaphorical pipe is leaking. And rather
Mm.
than fix the pipe, they put a bucket under the leak and then hire a guy whose job it is to wait for the bucket to get filled and then he empties it.
Yeah, you're creating jobs in a jobless market right there.
Yeah, um so there I'm going to look up more books by this guy David Gruber cuz both of those were a fun read.
Well, the library near me says it has it on the shelf, the debt one. So I bet they have the other one too. I'm just looking at all my little two read list on my library. I got the Tommy knockers on here.
That's fun.
I always want to read the worst Stephen King's. It's like I've read Cujo. I've read Thinner. And when I say the worst, I mean like the ones he doesn't remember writing because of when he super cocaine man
Yeah.
at the time.
He yeah, I know.
I've heard Tommy Knockers is I heard Cujo and Tommy Knockers were the ones where he was the most
Out of it.
yeah, out of it. And I liked Cujo. As goofy
Um
as that was, it was a fun one.
oh, have you read Disney War?
Disney War, no.
It's all about the rise and fall of Michael Eisner at Disney. And how he's a paranoid, delusional man. And it's interesting because, like, I can see why he was successful to start with because he did have some good ideas. And then his downfall can basically be summed up that he didn't trust anyone and was a delusional, narcissistic maniac.
Classic.
Yep.
Putting that on the list too.
It's not often that Jeffrey Katzenberg comes off looking reasonable.
Where's the book about Quibbly or whatever that thing was called?
Give it time. Give it time. Because Disney War came out a couple of years ago. So, you got to let it simmer for like a decade.
Mm. A couple years ago, really?
Well, maybe like...
Oh, it says 2005. Okay, but still.
Time is an acid trip. That was not a couple of years ago. I think I read it in like 2014. So I just mistakenly thought it came out then. But even then, that's not a couple of years ago. That's 10 years ago.
No, I know what you mean. Yeah. Everything feels like yesterday, and it never happened. Oh.
There's Paul Southworth made that webcomic Old Hats. And it's like, oh, we're all old.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I've been just fucking struggling with that all year. Wondering what to do next. And then just doing something else instead.
I've been getting in shape. I'm going to build up to the One Punch Man workout.
Yeah. I need to get that way too. Every time my back goes out, I'm like, this sucks. I need to fucking be better about this. And I have stretches I do, but then I just don't do it for one day. My back's like, all right, well,
we're done.
Check this out. And then, yeah, it just breaks again. And I'm like, oh, come on. And then this cold sets me back another fucking month, feels like. Crotchety old man. Speaking of crotchety old man, I'm getting tired.
All right, you want
How
to
long are
call
we
it?
doing this for?
Well,
Yeah.
we can call it now. Thanks,
Uh,
folks, for stopping by.
Thanks
Um,
to Kristen and Kristen only, and Daryl was here too.
Daryl's here too. Uh,
But yeah, this was nice. Thank you for having me on.
yeah, no problem. Anytime. Where can people find you on the internet?
Uh, Too many dumb places. You know what? Just check out Skull Tenders. That's the podcast I'm doing. With Cohen, Jess, and Amber. And I couldn't make it, but Jess is getting married this week, so that's really nice. Um, so check out Skulltenders, skulltenders.com. You can find me online. You know where to find me. If you don't worry about
And
it.
there's a Kickstarter that you're tangentially involved in going on.
Oh yeah, this is fine. Maximum Cope. Kind of just the figurehead of a
All
of a company making a game out of the thing, and so
right.
help with that or don't.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Um, well, once again, I am Kel McDonald. You can read my comics about gay werewolves in the future at kelmcdonald.com. This is the Iron Circus Geek Show. You can find Iron Circus on various social medias. I don't remember them off the top of my head because I hate social media. Um, and you can buy our books at ironcircus.com. Have a good
Yeah.
one, everybody.
Bye everyone.